Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters 2016. Good evening, Tricia Walsh.
Good evening, Susette.
Our first show.
It is our first show of the year.
And it's going to be a great one.
It's going to be a great year.
Yeah, a great year of shows. A lot of people wanting to come on board, part of the Mystic Chamber of Commerce benefits. But this is going to be one of my favorite shows, and I have to tell you, might as well just say it, getting it out of the gate. Because the first show is always one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it is, but it's good to start with the ones that you know are going to be super interesting. So
right.
Very
and,
excited.
you know, at this time, though, Tricia, I want to know what's going on, what the Chamber is doing and what's coming up.
Okay, so at the Chamber, we have a huge amount of networking events coming up in the coming months, and we will be hosting events in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. You have no excuse to not get out there and do some networking. We have a professional organizer doing a luncheon next month in April, and also in April we'll be at the Williams School for our business after hours. So great opportunity to come out, meet some new people, get involved with your community, and learn what the Chamber is all about.
Great.
Yeah, so.
So, you know, speaking of getting involved in your community.
Yes.
Okay. This evening, I would like to personally introduce Dan McFadden, Board of Directors at the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce.
That's right.
Obvious Director of Communications at the Mystic Seaport.
All right. Well, thanks for having us here
welcome.
today. Thank you.
And Director of Exhibits, Elysa. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
But you know, one of the first things I just want to talk about is when are you open?
Well, starting a week from today,
Yeah.
we will be open 9 to 5, 7 days a week, which
Okay.
of course is what we want to do. We're
Yes,
getting off our winter
absolutely.
hours and getting into our hours all the way through October. So 9 to 5, 7 days a week.
Okay. Dan, I have to tell you something. Right before the show, Tricia and I were talking, and I'm going to let Tricia speak to this a little bit. But that Thompson building, what a magnificent sight.
I like to see that smile on your face.
What a magnificent
That's
sight.
the reaction we're trying to get.
Absolutely.
We're trying to transform the north end of our campus, and we're trying to garner attention, and we're trying to find something special that people will want to see. And we actually have a time-lapse tape we prepared for the show.
Oh my
which
gosh,
shows the
look at
progress
that. It's
of
going
the,
to continue to roll.
It'll just
Yeah.
roll as we go, but it shows the progress starting about October. So we laid the pad for the foundation. There's no basement. We brought in 10 large beams, which were 5-piece beams built in Canada, fabricated in Canada, brought here, assembled on site. That's the structure for the building. And as you can see it go up, all of this wooden beams and structure will be exposed. We're going to put some polyurethane on it and leave it. So you're going to see the wood, you're going to see the structure of the building, which is an important part of the design. If you've driven by lately, you see the roof has gone on, the curtain walls have gone on. We're going to get some siding very soon, and then it's going to look a little boring because we're going to go inside and do all the work on the inside. But the building's it's on time, on schedule. We're going to open up on September 24th this year.
Okay.
And it's starting to really look good, really getting to see not just the architectural renderings, but the actual physical building. And people so far have been really wonderful in their reaction to it.
Well, I think the whole community, and I'll let Tricia take the lead on
Yeah,
this.
I mean, I can go either, from one side of Mystic and go over the drawbridge, or I can go down 27, either way to work. And the past 2 months or so, I've been driving down 27 just 'cause seeing the work progress is it's exciting every day as I go into the office.
And that's actually part of the program of the building is as you're driving down 27, it's not just a gateway to Mystic Seaport, but it's a gateway to Mystic.
Right.
It'll be a much better entrance, a much better sort of, as I said, gateway to the community and coming into all the things you can do here. And that's part of the program. And that's actually one of the things the governor's staff commented on. You know, they gave us a $2 million grant, which goes a long way to helping us finish
And
funding.
congratulations,
A little ways to
Dan.
go.
Yeah,
but
a little
that
ways
was
to go, yeah.
a big contribution, and it was really nice to get that vote of support from the state and the greater community as well for that money. It means a lot to us, and we're going to do great things with it. But that was part of the role of the building is to help the entire tourism and business community in this corner of the state.
Well, I think that's kind of the message. When you're vying for dollars and you're especially on exit 90, that's the golden triangle. So the investment comes back in twofold. And we see that right along with the Mystic Seaport, the aquarium, and an old Mystic Village. It really isn't just. It is about the Mystic Seaport, but it's about all of us. And one of the things I say, the responsibility of all of us is that we need to own it. And
Exactly.
the Mystic Seaport is part of our something that we own, and it's so great. It's been so long, Dan. This, the future and the vision.
It seems like the hangover from the recession took a long time
Yeah,
to get out of,
yeah.
and I think in the last 18 months, 2 years, certainly now you're seeing a lot more investment in the hotels, in
Right.
new restaurants. So there's a much more, Tricia, I think you've seen the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's a much more upbeat attitude, and we're just happy to be in a position to contribute to that and help make that happen locally. So we're really looking forward to it. And actually, here's another example. Even though we have to wait till September for the building to open, we're going to start early, and we're going to have a summer performing arts series on the quad right in front of the
Right,
building.
right.
So the building's part of a bigger project of revamping the other galleries and changing the space in the north end of our campus, but we've got a beautiful quad, a beautiful lawn, so we're going to do 6 performances. Flock Theater is going to do Shakespeare, Mystic Horns will do a concert, Salt Marsh
I
Opera
love
will
the
come and
Mystic
do a
Horns.
concert.
Yeah.
We've got a Zydeco band of Craig Edwards, one of
Yes.
our staff members who's great, so he's going to do not sea shanties, but something new and different. That should be great. And we're looking for one more performance group, but so it'll be 6 performances. It'll be after work.
Starting when, Dan? I want to
It
get
starts
that.
July 2nd. Various
Okay.
days over the course of the summer. We'll be publishing a schedule online. But it should be nice. A nice community event. If you're in town, great. But if you're here, something to do on one of those nights, bring your blanket and chair and, some food and really enjoy a great performance. So
Fantastic.
we're starting to use the space. And those are some of the new things we're going to try to do with all this construction, all these changes we have. So we're looking forward to that.
That's great.
Excellent. Well, if I can ask, what was the goal of building this brand new building beyond just, obviously you are changing the landscape there of the
Yeah,
Seaport.
I think there are 2 things. Number one is to attract visitors to the museum. It's not just we're an attraction, but it's our mission to share America's maritime heritage, and we needed the facilities. Elysa, as director of exhibits, has a lot invested in this.
Oh, yeah.
In this
We're
new
gonna get to
building,
that.
because
Yeah.
the key part of the new building is the 5,000 square foot exhibition space. It's large, it's tall, it's state of the art in terms of being able to have heating and cooling and all the things that Elysa needs to keep our artifacts and borrowed artifacts at the correct levels for preservation. And for us, a key thing in the first exhibit that we can't give you too many specifics on it because we're still working, but
Oh, I
the
hate
first
when you
exhibit
say that, Dan.
will open on December 10, and what we can say, and correct me if I'm going too far here, Elysa, but it's about we're going to be taking items from our collection, and the focus is on items that we have had across the street in our Collections Research Center that people have not seen, and overall, this exhibit hall, it'll do many things over the years, but a key thing is to make sure we're getting our artifacts from our collections out where people can see them. And that's the key thing about the new space.
And that was kind of the goal too, like Tricia was saying, it was kind of the goal to form that from that one building to another to
Yes.
make it more, people friendly.
Yes.
Right?
And boat friendly, so we can
Exactly.
actually fit some of our small
Yeah,
boats
yeah,
into a
in there.
gallery, which we haven't
Yeah.
been able to do before for our changing exhibits.
So tell us about some of the exhibits. I know you have an exhibit
Sure.
opening up soon.
We do. We have a great art exhibit coming, and it is called Over Life's Waters, and it's a coastal art collection from Charles and Irene Ham, who are Mystic residents.
Mystic residents, yeah,
great
right up the street,
supporters,
yeah.
exactly. And they've been collecting coastal art for I think almost 50 years.
Are we
this
showing
is-
some of this?
This
On the-
is
oh
the
my
signature
gosh.
image. Yes, this is by William Partridge Burpee, and it's called.
That's
Isn't that beautiful? The
Dory,
colors
that's
and the
beautiful.
sky. And he was a painter based in Boston, and it's really representative of the quality of the artwork that's in the
Yeah.
exhibit. They didn't collect for names. They weren't focused really on whether it was a big name artist. They really looked at the individual artworks to see if it spoke to them. And as lovers of boats and being on the water and travel, the Hams, have had these great life experiences, and they would collect art when they traveled. And so then it became part of their collection, and now it all belongs to New Britain Museum of American Art, and it's traveling to Mystic. So
Wow.
everyone will get to see 65 paintings.
Okay.
And they're just really beautiful to spend time with and to get to know some really lovely scenes.
That's fantastic.
So we're excited. That opens May 21st,
Okay.
and it'll be open through next January, through the middle of next January.
So
It's a good long
significant-
stretch.
Yeah.
Yes,
period
which
of time.
will hit the summer visitors as
Yeah.
well as the locals who are here in the fall and in the winter, and people who come to see the new building once
Mm-hmm.
it opens in December. This exhibit will still be open,
Mm-hmm.
so we're really looking forward to getting to know it better.
So what's the exciting part of your job? I mean, we're just the hosts here, but she's really presenting with this smile. Like,
Yeah.
I love what I do.
I do.
Like, it
I
seems like
absolutely
you get
love
to
it.
pick what's
Yeah.
going to come.
Well, I'm one of the voices, and so
Okay.
we get input from Dan, we get input from collections, from education, from all the different experts at the Seaport who know our different audiences, who know what they're looking for, know what they might be interested in seeing. And for me, it's just such a great learning and sharing experience. So with each new exhibit, I get to learn something new, but it's not just learning it and holding it in my head. It's then,
Right.
okay, how can we bring this to families, or how can we bring this to collectors so they get to see these amazing artifacts or artwork? And that's phenomenal, to walk around the gallery and to say, we as a team presented this, and now the community gets to enjoy it. That's a great feeling, so that's what I love.
You know, another thing is, I mean, of course, Tricia and I, we talk about this all the time, having grown up with the Mystic Seaport right in our backyard. But it's a constant changing of, you know, we talk about the millennials coming up, the demographics, and it seems that this is just the right time. Things are just coming together so well for the Seaport. And it's exciting not only for the Seaport, but for all of us to talk about it in the community. Do you see some of more excitement in the younger generation?
Well, that's a big goal for us, yes,
Yeah,
is to stay relevant. And I think the answer is yes. Elysa's on the cutting edge of that, producing our exhibits, but our interpretation department works on it as well. And of course,
Right.
education is our
It's
direct
key.
gateway to
It's key,
the younger
yep.
generation. So we do see that excitement, and the challenge for us is to figure out what that is and how to capture it.
Right.
But you
But
know,
you're right on the cusp, though, Dan. This is just, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I would say people are always looking for the experience now.
well, that's the word, and that's what
Yeah.
we focus on the experience of coming onto the grounds, and that's one of our strengths, and it is. We talk about going on the Sabino, we talk about going on Brilliant, we talk about walking the grounds, or
Right.
you know, talking with Sam Pearson, who's a phenomenal cooper, and learning who knew you wanted to learn how a barrel was made, but Sam makes that fascinating.
Right.
Well, it actually is. It's
Yeah,
much more
it's very
complicated than that.
fascinating.
But he nails it, and it's those experiences, or it's walking into an exhibit where Elisa's found a way to take an object and transform that into something exciting. And again, how do we do that? That's part of the fun, part of the challenge, but part of the fun of what we do. And we hope that does get out on the grounds, because that's
Right.
what we're
It
focused,
resonates
and
out
that's what resonates. That's what's exciting for the people, those of us who work there, is trying to make, in most cases, our passion for a particular subject exciting for the visitor who comes and sees it.
But even for the locals, too. I mean, one of my favorite times is the fall.
Yes.
It's grabbing a cup of coffee when it does wind down. And you know, sometimes I don't go into any of to see the exhibits. It's more about walking the grounds. You know what I mean? And just being one with yourself. Best piece of property.
Yes.
Best piece of property.
Well, see, and I take advantage of the other end because I love the spring and I love watching from the other side of the river all the sailboats that are out
Right.
there. 'Cause
Yes.
I learned to sail through the Seaport sailing
I did
program.
too.
So
Not a
did
very
I.
good sailor, but I mean, we all. I know. We were all.
We're all in the
That's
river.
funny.
Maybe
We were all in
that's
the
not
river
an
at one time.
endorsement of
Yeah. I'm not going to say how I did, but you know.
Yes, we, you know, so just being able to see, you know, the kids out there in the boats, and it just reminds me of, you know, when I did it. It's so much fun.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But speaking of boats, and you mentioned Sabino, can you tell us what's going on
Sure.
with Sabino?
Well, first of all, Sabino will steam again. That's our key message here. So, as you know, we've had her out of the water for about a year, moving on a year and a half now, for a very necessary restoration. A lot of work in her stern, a little bit of replanking, top deck stairs, a whole bunch of things needed to be addressed that we couldn't do in a short period of time. So we took her out of the water, out of operation. As we know with the Morgan and pretty much every other old boat or ship we own, there come times where you have to do more than regular maintenance, and that's where she was. Some issues with her keel as well. About an $875,000 project, so it's a big one for us.
Wow.
And you know, we finance these things out of they're donor driven. We can't
Yes.
we can't do the Morgan. We can't build a new building. We can't do the Sabino out of operations. We need to raise money for that. And we've actually been extremely successful with Sabino. We've raised about $620,000 with some great federal grants. State of Connecticut was also very generous, and we have had some private donors. We came up a little short on the boiler, and there are two issues with that. We can't go to Walmart and buy a boiler for a 1908 steamboat. So
Right. That's over 100 years old, right? Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep. A boiler dates from the 1940s, but it's a very small, unusual archaic is actually the shipyard's word for it, boiler. So we have to have it custom fabricated, and it has to be historically accurate, and it has to meet, boiler standards and Coast Guard standards. A long way of saying it's a complicated project, and we just can't go and say, hey, let's go buy it. Can't buy a new transmission light for a car. So we need to raise the money to do that, and we had to find the firm and the designer who was willing to take on that project. We believe we found one. We still need the money in hand to do that. And the work on the hull has progressed apace, and so we can put the boat back in the water, but we're not going to have a boiler fabricated and ready to go in at the same time. So this spring, she will go back in the water, probably late this spring, early summer. She'll go back in the water. She'll be an exhibit like the others. You can go on board and see her while we finish raising the money for the boiler. And at that point, when we do have the money and we get it built, it'll be much easier. We'll just sort of pop the top off and drop it in, and she'll be back sailing again. But our appeal right now is, if you like seeing the Sabino go up and down the Mystic River, which she's done since 1973, please help us do that. Because the hurdle we're at right now is we need the funding to do that.
Right. And how many restaurants this is the funny thing, you'd be at a restaurant like S&P Oyster, and you wait for that Sabino to go by, and you just want to wave to people. I mean, it's just so much a part of our downtown.
It is.
And I think it also speaks to the authenticity that the Seaport has maintained, where you're having this part recreated instead of just buying something that maybe could fit, and you guys could kind of fake it a little bit because everything else is too.
Yeah, thank you. We could drop a diesel motor in her,
Right.
and keep operating her, and we could do many different things. But the experience of sitting on an operating steamboat is, you really can't do that anywhere else. There are a few other operating, but
Right.
It's a rare thing and it's a special thing. If they're quiet. I think all of us have been on Sabino here.
Yeah.
It's quiet. You glide down the river, and it's such a peaceful experience. And that's how it was done more than 100 years ago. But you don't do that today. And so that's the experience we're trying to keep it authentic, so you know what it was like to be on a real steamboat, because she is a real steamboat.
Right. But is there only a certain amount of people that can work on this type of boat? I mean,
It's a very specialized work,
Right.
and so we're really lucky that we have a restoration shipyard that can do so much of the exterior and the interior work and the woodworking and all of the other systems. But that boiler is just such a special piece
Right, right.
that's the final missing piece to it. What's great is that the visitors can come see her. So even
Right,
before she
as
goes
it's
in the
done,
water,
being done,
they can
right.
watch, the work going on in the shipyard, and that's open to visitors, which is really unusual for a museum.
Right.
That's a way of going behind the scenes and seeing those maritime skills still being used the way that they would have been 100 years ago. But we're looking forward to having her back up and down the river as well.
so are there a lot of volunteers that would be working on this, or it's
there are
mainly in-house?
Well, as always, the shipwrights lead the project, but as always, volunteers are involved in many, many aspects of what we do, and I think we all have to thank them, because we couldn't do a lot of what we do without our outstanding Corps of volunteers. And there is a particularly dedicated group
Yes,
in the shipyard, who scrape all the paint and scrape
We
all the
need them
varnish
too,
and do
Dan.
that. And we
Yeah,
absolutely
we
need
do.
them.
We need them, yeah.
So, they're absolutely involved in it, and it's the Sabino's a big project for the shipyard. It's going along really well. They just got a new top deck on, and they're wrapping that up, and so it's neat even just week to week to stop by and see, they finished this and they finished that. Now the top's on. They've got that taken care of, and it's just neat to see it progress.
Great. And how did you get? You had the footage of the building of the new building, and you had it, time lapse. Were you able to get a drone? Does the Seaport have its own drone type photography?
Well, we just have a drone. We got it for Christmas, actually.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Dan.
Yes, we're very excited.
It was.
All right, so we're in the process of also, like everybody else, figuring out the FAA requirements and what we can
Yes.
and can't do.
Yeah.
We're also going to send our two staff videographers to drone school so they know how to pilot it, and because it's not just a matter of flying, but it's a matter of being able to fly and shoot and use the camera. So we're very excited to get that tool out there. So as soon as we get them trained up and we really know what we're doing, we're very excited to get that out in the river and kind of do some new things with it.
I just think, like showing the time lapse of the building, and then now with this, I know everything that's happening. The work that's going on with that. It's just, I know that wasn't on the list of things to talk about, but
no.
I had to ask, because it's really interesting to be able to see it and quick and
It is, yeah. And all of those tools, and the drone in particular too, we're able to turn these things around and put it on our website. So we're just getting more and more organized about how we do that and how we can turn things around quickly. But I do have to say, I wish we had the drone during the 38th voyage of the Charles W. Morgan.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, you didn't put that on the Christmas list for last year, or
know, I
or
should've.
5 years ago.
Yeah,
Wow,
I needed,
yeah,
I needed to put, well, I did ask for it. It didn't work out. But the technology's come so fast, even just in the 2 years. Like we do have some drone footage from Bailey Pryor, local filmmakers,
Yes.
who
Yeah,
did
Bailey,
the
yeah.
wonderful documentary on film on PBS. So he was able to get a drone and do some of that as part of his production. So we do have some, but just in those 2 years since then, we got a much better drone for a far smaller cost, and we're really looking forward to taking some good pictures with it.
I just, for just the viewers that, can anybody give me a little history on the Sabino, how we acquired it at the Seaport, and
Okay,
Dan,
so
can
she
you do
started
that?
up in Mid-Coast, Maine,
Yep.
the Damariscotta River. And the second part of her career was primarily in the Casco Bay area around Portland, where she was a ferry and kind of a backup, I think, for most of those times, certainly at the end of her career. She then went to, I believe, Newburyport, and a private family bought her, and they owned a marina, and they sort of did somewhat of a restoration, used her for a few years up and down, doing tours of the river. And I have it on good authority that James Taylor at one point was part of the crew.
Really?
I was sitting on the back of that.
Any
great
songs
story.
Yeah.
out of that?
Yeah, I don't think there are any songs.
Oh, no,
This is very young James Taylor.
well, no, it had to be You've Got a Friend. I mean, the Sabino, obviously we're looking for some donate. You've got a friend. I mean,
And then I think she came here in I believe 1973, first as a charter.
Yeah.
I think probably pretty much as a test run to see if that would work for us, and then we took her on the next year. So I think 74 was when she became Mystic Seaport property, and she spent some time Shipyard New London.
Yes.
And then is back here, and we've been taking care of her ever since.
well, it's interesting, Dan, that you say that, because I do remember the 1973 or 1974, but I remember when she came because I graduated from high school, but it wasn't a test, but when you just came up with all that information, I was so surprised that you had that. That's fantastic.
I like the Sabino.
Yeah, I do too.
We all have our
I
little
mean,
favorite
Exactly.
vessels around
and that's
here.
just
You can have more
great
than one, but
historical knowledge, because I have to tell you, did you know that?
I did not know the history of the Spino. No.
Okay, so that was just some great historical knowledge, and I absolutely did not know that. I knew it had come
Yes.
in 1973 or 1974, because it was a kind of a big splash that,
Okay.
in the day paper that, this was coming, and I thought to myself, well, what's this going to do? We're just going to ride up and down the river, and then I rode up and down the river and said to myself, this is a lot of fun, and then it just kind of took its own little, and then people started just, okay, we're going to come here and we got to go on the Sabino. I don't think people come to the Mystic Seaport without going on the Sabino.
Many people go on board, and what's
Yeah.
amazing is it's hard for local residents for us to understand this, but many people come to the Seaport who've never been on the water before.
Yes.
And so
That
they get
is-
to, on the Sabino or on one of our launches or renting a rowboat or going out with a captain on one of our small sailboats, they get a chance to do something they haven't done in their lives
Yeah,
before. And
yeah.
that's really remarkable.
Well, that's interesting, Lisa, because I think we take for granted
We do.
that we, having lived on the water and all of us being around here all our lives, that this particular gem has always been in our backyard. So it's nice
special.
to, yeah, it really is
Yeah.
special. It's also nice to see it from other people's
Yes.
eyes too. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We've got a few
Sure.
minutes. You've been with the Seaport how long?
I actually started as a teen volunteer, so 30 years ago.
Wow.
I
And-
started at Mystic Seaport.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was
30
my
years
first-
ago.
yeah, It
Wow.
was my first museum experience, and I loved it. I loved the
You got the
history.
bug. You
I
never
got the
left.
bug, and then went to college and went to grad school and had a chance to come back and work, and I've never looked back since. I mean, it's a great group of people. Our members, our volunteers are all amazing. The stories.
Yeah.
You talked about the relevance, and I can't think of another museum whose topic is so relevant to everything that's going on today, whether you're looking at trade or art or what we buy and where it comes from. That's all maritime.
Yeah.
And so there are these connections we can help people make to their own lives and to what they care about. And that's really powerful for a museum. What I love about having been part of the 38th voyage and now with this new building is that the museum is actually making history. And as a
Yeah.
historian, we get a chance to study history and record it and share it, to actually be part of sailing that whale ship, and now part of this, remarkable building that's changing the landscape and improving the landscape along our river. That's making history, and that's exciting.
What I like about it is you're part of that history. I mean, 30 years is a long time.
It is a long time.
And you seem so
Learned a lot.
passionate about what you do and seeing this vision go forward. You've seen it all.
I've seen a lot. I haven't been here the whole time, and many
Yeah.
people have. That's one thing that's remarkable about the museum, is we have people who've been there 45, 50, 55 years. But we also have a lot of people, fresh faces coming in who know our reputation and want to be part of it. And then we train a lot of people who go and work at other museums as well. So it's really important for the field.
You still offer a lot of opportunities for younger adults to volunteer as well. I know.
Absolutely.
I volunteered when I was in middle school.
Yes.
I worked in
Yes.
Oh, another one.
the seamstress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Costume shop.
Costume shop, sewing the little labels into everything.
Absolutely, behind the scenes. And then
Yeah.
also we have a lot of activity centers for families. And we find that teens, when they work with an adult as a partner, they're really great in that space because they can help the kids. They really understand what the kids are looking for, what their questions are going to be, and they're very comfortable, and the kids are comfortable with them. So teen volunteers work behind the scenes, with our visitors under supervision. It's really a great experience.
It is. And I will say, great opportunity if you have a teenager that's maybe moving towards college years, it doesn't hurt to say you spent some time working at the Seaport.
Yes.
I know that always was helpful for me as well. And
Well,
I
we're
enjoyed
gonna
it.
wrap it up. Dan, just give us some information on the Seaport, where we can donate or how we can get a hold of
Our
any
website's the
information.
best place to find everything. We keep
Okay.
it up to date as much as we can.
And
so
what is
we're
that?
online, it's www.mysticseaport.org.
Yes.
Hours, tickets, and if you want to donate to the Sabino, if you are so desire, please
Oh,
do. You can do it all
absolutely.
right there.
Well, Dan McFadden, it's always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. Thank you.
When Dan came to Mystic, and we just sort of grabbed a hold of him and said, he's ours. And he's just been a very big part of the community.
No,
and
thank
we
you very
thank
much.
you very much, Dan, you and your wife.
No,
And Elysa, nice to really meet you.
Thank you. Nice to
And
meet
good luck.
you.
And we'll
Thank
be
you.
supporting you all the way.
Great.
And good luck to the Mystic Seaport. Great institution right in our backyard. Tricia, it's very nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I'll see you next week.
Let's keep going.
Okay, we are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Good evening.